Hi, my name is Nicole Lockwood, and I just finished my internship for the Marriage and Family Studies requirement. So I did my internship at a therapy office called Adult and Adolescent Recovery Counseling. They do a little bit of all kinds of counseling. They have drawing therapy, they have children's therapy, they have family counseling, they have individual counseling, um, they have traumatic recovery counseling. So they do like EDMR, which is really neat for trauma. And so they offer a lot of different kinds of things. There's about 4 or 5 therapists in the office. I think right now it's 4. They're hiring. So they have 4 counselors in the office, and each counselor provides different things. 2 of them are marriage and family counselors, and the rest are just individual counselors. So for finding and arranging the internship, I very first thought took to the internet. And so I went and I searched, and I wasn't sure if I was looking for therapy because I've thought about being a therapist. I've thought about going on to get my master's and becoming a marriage and family therapist. But I've also thought about doing something in the realm of advocacy. When I took the child and family advocacy course here at BYU, Idaho, I fell in love with it, and I felt like it was the most I've ever learned in a class. And so I really felt like I want to make a difference in the world, and that might be how. And so I started looking up different advocacy centers, and I spoke to my husband, who is actually a police officer. And he said that advocacy centers are really a sad place, and that it can be really, really hard emotionally. And I thought, I don't know if I want to do that right now on top of my classes, on top of everything, and maybe I'm not sure about it. And so then I started looking more into the therapy realm of things. And I actually found a therapy office. It's owned by my aunt and my uncle. And so my uncle is the head therapist there. He's a supervising therapist. And then my aunt is the administrative manager. And so I got to work with both of them. And so finding it, I ended up talking to them and asking, do you have any places that you would recommend for an internship? And they said, well, we're looking for an intern, so why don't you just come work for us? And so I spoke to the internship office and I said, is this something that could be okay, like working for a family? I know it's kind of weird. And they said, as long as it's not, in your direct family, you're totally fine. And so worked out perfectly. I met with Derek, the owner, and Stacy, his wife, and we had a great conversation. It was, we all wanted to go through with it. So I submitted my internship approval form, and it went through. So my responsibilities in the office consisted mostly of billing. I did a lot of billing. Our original plan when I started was to spend more time on the phones and emailing with clients, and I did a little bit of that, but not as much as we thought I would. I mostly worked with insurance and billing, which was completely new for me. I've never done anything like that. I worked in childcare before this, and so these responsibilities were all pretty new to me. But I really enjoyed sending professional emails, proofreading through those. I enjoyed keeping an office organized. I enjoyed organizing the online files. I spent some time doing that. I created insurance claims and invoices and super bills and sent them out. I spoke with insurance agents on the phone. I went to insurance websites to find information. One of the other tasks that I did was social media. So I had control over the Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. And so I made job postings and different things. This internship happened over the course of Mental Health Awareness Month. And so I was able to make quite a few posts about mental health, which is really good. And then I spent my last couple of weeks working really hard on a spreadsheet of referrals. So I searched anywhere in the valley, anywhere within, I think, 15-mile radius, to find different offices that could be a good source of client referrals. So my contribution to the office, how did they benefit? I feel like my supervisor, Stacy, had been in charge of all of the administrative work, and it was pretty overwhelming for her. And so I was able to go in and take on some of it and lighten her load a little bit. So I know that she felt some relief with that, with being able to share the load. And she worked from home a lot, and so she was alone working from home. And so it was really nice the social aspect of it, to have someone else there to be able to talk to. And so I feel like I contributed a lot in that way. And I was also able to take on a lot of more simple tasks so that they could focus on the business side. I was able to post on social media, do that referral search so that they could ensure that their business was running smoothly. Some of my biggest takeaways, it was a very new experience for me. I didn't know what to expect. I've never worked in an office before. I've only ever worked in preschool or nanny settings. And so I've never had to dress professionally or speak professionally. I end up speaking like a baby a lot of the time with my regular job. So it was really cool to learn that professionalism and that effective communication with adults. I really valued that. And I did not know anything about insurance or billing or any of that process before I started this. And I feel like I know quite a bit now. I know what a super bill is, and I'm able to check benefits, which I've never done before. And so I learned things like that. But then I also realized through talking with the therapist and through hearing about some of these clients that they had, that it's a pretty intense job, and I'm not sure if I want to do it. I feel a little bit less inclined to become a therapist now, to go on and get my master's and to do family counseling, just because I don't know if mentally and emotionally I can do it. And so that's one thing that was a really big takeaway for me, that it's intense. It's an intense job. It's not just, happy helping people. It's pretty intense. And so that was one of my biggest takeaways, is that now I feel like I've got a lot to think about. And then connections to coursework. So there are quite a few connections listed here, but one of the biggest ones for me is family stress. I am actually just finished the family stress and coping class. And so it was really interesting for me to be doing my internship and that class at the same time, because as I saw these stories of these clients and talked to them a little bit, I was able to relate it a lot to some of these family stress theories and models that we had talked about. And so it was really neat to be able to look at those things at the same exact time. And then, of course, things like communication, learning ability, desire to learn, adaptability are things that I've learned throughout my time at BYU Idaho. And one of the other big ones for me was having a growth mindset, because I do not do well when I make mistakes. And I made a couple of mistakes when I first started with billing. And so it reminded me of learning about having a growth mindset and not letting it tear me down, or not tearing myself down, to understand, like, okay, I made a mistake and I'm going to grow from it. So I recommend this experience. I recommend doing an internship because I think it's a great way to get your foot in the door somewhere. I think it's a great way to learn a little bit more about something that maybe you don't know all that much about. I've never been in a therapy setting like that. And so it was really interesting because it's something I've thought about wanting to do with my life. It was great to see it and realize maybe it's not what I want to do with my life, but that it is beneficial, and that just trying new experiences, putting yourself out there, can be rewarding, because you learn a lot about yourself and you learn a lot about different skills that maybe you're lacking, or different skills that maybe you didn't realize that you had. So if you feel so inclined to do an internship here, they are still, they love having internship. They love having interns. So here's their contact information. It's just a link right here to their website where you can contact them. So thank you so much.